Amazon just changed its logo. Adobe did too, but no one's talking about it. These are what is called quiet rebrands. No press release, no hype, just subtle tweaks. And today I'm going to tell you exactly what's changed and why they even would bother. So first of all, let's play a game. Have you noticed a difference between this logo and this one? From the get-go, they both look quite similar, but there is actually a slight difference. Obviously, the typography has changed slightly. If we look at the A down here, this A has got a different stem at the bottom, and a different foot, I think it's called, and it looks different in general. The arrow is the biggest difference. It's got a brighter, more orangey orange. And it seems like they've made the logo type feel bolder, even if that wasn't their intention. Even YouTube changed their logo by just slightly updating the color to make it more red. But the biggest one that I think we've seen is Adobe's rebrand. No one knew that Adobe changed their logo. Here's one of their logos. I think this is one of the older ones. And then we have the newest one, which is here. Back in the day, Adobe's logo used to look like that, way before my time, April 1990. And I actually think this came from the article, which I'll link down below over at Creative Block. But this is really interesting. I never knew that you had to put typefaces or fonts onto a floppy disk. But look at that logo. The logo looks insanely different, very 80s and 90s. So from this design, they recently actually came up with this and they've made it bolder. Why? We're living in a world where we have companies like Jaguar that are completely rebranding and alienating their audiences. A few months ago, I did a video about Jaguar and their rebrand. Basically, they changed everything. They made it more modern. They got rid of essentially anything that looked like Jaguar. What did that do? It didn't do well. According to Google's AI overview, Jaguar's sales declined and recent rebrand have led to accusations of failure both financially and in terms of brand perception. So why do companies like Adobe, Google, Amazon have logos that change quite often, but very subtly? It all comes down to a difference between a refresh and a rebrand. Rebranding is where we may change the messaging of the brand, and that might mean a different look and feel. For instance, if a company was creating a new software, or whether Adobe was going to go into a different market space, not in the creative space, or whether Amazon wasn't going to be A to Z anymore, but it was only going to be A to Y, they will probably rebrand because something core from the product has changed or for who it is. Now, a brand refresh is where we take the brand as it is and we accentuate, highlight and iterate on what we already have to make it better. So for instance, the Adobe logo, I read on this really interesting article here that they use the A that they already have, which has always looked like it's in the negative space, this is the icon that we all see, but they've made it into a more of a positive space logo. Now, even watching this cool release video of what they did change here with all the vector paths, they've made it bolder, they've made everything stand out more. This is a perfect example of a refresh. When things like technology, when cultures change, when messaging is being clarified within a brand, we refresh it. Now you might be wondering, why would you ever want to just do a little refresh like Google did, or even Amazon or Adobe? Well, the reason being is because a brand is a system. A brand isn't just a logo. It isn't just a way of thinking. It's not the typography used. It's all these things together, plus the connection you have with your customers. When you are a fan of a brand like Amazon or Adobe or Apple or Google, you're part of their tribe. You're part of the family inner workings. And you won't see their brand just through their logo. You'll see the brand through the different products they have, like Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. They all look kind of similar. They work in a similar way too. If you go into Amazon, you'll realize that the shopfront looks great. Amazon Prime shopfront for all the videos looks similar. And that's called a design language or brand language. Everything is similar together. Now, when you change one thing about the logo or even just the brand, when you do a little refresh of, let's say, the orange here, that means everything else is going to refresh with it. And I don't know why they changed the orange. I mean, I don't mind it. I think it looks bolder. I do like the changes to the typography and their fonts that they've been making. The reason why they do it though is because those small changes add up to big differences for the users. It adds up to a big difference for the change of messaging. Branding can be quite confusing for especially new designers or people who are just getting into the idea of visual identity and brand identities. But don't make the same mistake that other people have done. I'm looking at Jaguar right now. Don't make the same mistake by thinking you have to rebrand. Most of the time, it requires a brand refresh. So let me know in the comments, what do you think of these new logos here? Did you even notice a difference? And also let me know your thoughts down below on rebranding versus refreshing a brand. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.